Learning English through music is such a fun way to study English, and there's nothing I love more than taking an English song and turning it into an ESL lesson. So today, let me share my entire Live Like You Were Dying ESL lesson that you can copy and paste for your classes. Hi, my name is Megan. I have been an ESL teacher in China for the past 10 years, and I make videos all about life in China, lesson planning, and how to be an ESL teacher. Today, let me share with you my Live Like You Were Dying ESL lesson plan. Live Like You're Dying is an old country song by Tim McGraw, but I find it's a really fun way to bring out some conversations and have students practice with English. Basically, we are going to listen to the song, learn English from the song, but also use the song as discussion in the rest of our lesson. Now, before we actually listen to the song, I found that it works a lot better if, number one, we have the students read the lyrics first. So usually I will type out the lyrics in a PDF or a Word document and I send it to the students, or I put the lyrics up on the screen. Giving students a chance to slowly read through the lyrics, search some words that they're not familiar with can be really, really helpful. Then we'll discuss some basic vocabulary that we could learn from the song. There are a lot of native expressions and some good vocabulary words as well. For example, at the beginning he said he was in his early 40s. And I often find that students aren't familiar with that terminology. What does early 40s mean? What does late 20s mean? So we can talk about that a little bit. There are a couple of other good phrases like sank in. He said that the news didn't sink in yet. He said that he was hit with the realization. So what does hit mean there? They also use some good words like imposition or eternity. So after we've familiarized ourselves with the lyrics and we've studied a little bit of the vocabulary words, it's time to listen to the song. So we'll just play the song in class and I'll listen to it together. Now you could show the official music video, but I've found that it's a lot easier for students to follow along if you show the lyric video. If you just show the official music video, then a lot of times students are trying to follow the video while they're also checking the lyrics. So maybe they're looking up and looking down. It just is a lot easier if the lyric video is playing so students can see the lyrics appear on the screen as the singer is singing them. Now, what is Live Like You're Dying even about? This is a song about a man who goes to the doctor and finds out that he doesn't have much longer to live. Dark topic, I know. But when he realizes that, his entire life changes in an instant, and he decides to take courage and do some of the things that he has always wanted to do. You know, he goes skydiving, he goes bull riding. And at the beginning, he does all these really exciting things, but then as a little bit of time goes on, he realizes the things that he cares much more about are things like spending time with his family, hugging the people he loves, taking time to just watch the birds as they are flying in the sky. So after we've listened to the song, I ask students to pair up and make a list of all the things the man decided to do after he got that bad news. So here, students have a chance to practice using the vocabulary that we've already learned, for example, skydiving, and they will make a list of all the things that he did. So after students have had some time to discuss, what I like to do is I like to have all the students call out the answers that they found and we can write them on the board together. It's a very collective, collaborative activity that encourages students to speak out. So now that we've studied the vocabulary and we've looked at the lyrics, we have a general understanding about what the song means. Now it's time for our discussion part. And during this part, you can fully customize it according to how much time you have or what your student's English ability actually is. So here are a couple of conversation questions that you could turn into conversation activities. Number one, if this happened to you, if you got bad news like the man in the song, how would you respond and what would you do once you found out that information? Number two, take some of the things that were mentioned in the song and expound upon them. For example, he said that he suddenly thought going fishing wasn't as big of a hassle as it was before. So the question for this one could be, what are some hobbies or activities you really enjoy and you don't do enough? Question number 3, he talks about the fact that he would love deeper and he would speak sweeter. He would be a better friend and he would be a better husband. So for question number 3, ask them how your relationships with the people around you would change. Would you do anything differently? Number 4, for a fun one, what do you want to do on your bucket list? Now, all of these items are super deep. Some of them are just, go skydiving or go bull riding. And I find that the bucket list activity is a really fun one. I'll often show pictures of examples of different bucket list items just to get students thinking of more options. So yeah, things like go skydiving, or maybe run a marathon, or travel to Paris, or see the northern lights, or learn how to play guitar, or adopt a dog, or adopt a cat. I often find that if I give students a couple of suggestions for this one, it makes it much easier for them to think of their bucket list items. Also, I usually encourage them first to write down their bucket list items before they talk to their partner. And you could do that for actually all of these questions. Give students a chance to really consider what their answer would be and then let them communicate with their partner. I also usually encourage students to write down 10 bucket list items. And it sounds like a lot, but I've found that when I tell them to write down 10 versus 3 or 4 or 5, they're just a little bit more creative and they're a little bit more free. If you ask students to only write down 3 bucket list items, then they just kind of write down 3 random ones that most people want. Something like, I want to buy a house, or I want to have a boyfriend. But once you say 10, it kind of unleashes their creativity. And because there are so many, they don't overthink about what they want to add on to their list. When I tell them to write down just 3 or 4, they often overthink exactly what they want to put on their bucket list. And it's okay if they don't write down 10. Most of my students get to like 7 or 8. And once I found that they have a decent list, that's okay. Let them talk with their partner, and this is a really fun conversation as well. Students are sharing, they really want to go to their favorite singer's concert, and they really want to travel to Japan because they're super into anime, and it just leads to a lot of interesting conversations. I usually find that this bucket list question is the one that takes up the most time, and it's also the most interesting. Number 5, a deep question again, is how can you make your life more meaningful every day? The point of this song is to encourage people to think about their lives as being a little bit more precious. Think about the mistakes that you've made and the things that you would change. Think about what's actually a priority in your life. I love that some of the things he says are just to love deeper and to watch an eagle as it's flying and take more time to go fishing. So this kind of question really encourages students to look at what's important. What can you do to romanticize your life, to make your everyday life a little bit more enjoyable or a little bit more meaningful? Now, if you want, you could end there, but one other activity that I think is really fun, and you could play this at the beginning or at the end of class, is to play Never Have I Ever. I think we're all familiar with the drinking game. We're not going to be drinking in the classroom, but there's a way to modify this to use in the classroom. So here's how I play Never Have I Ever with my students. What I will do is I will have all of the students stand up. Then on the screen, I have a variety of Never Have I Ever prompts. If a student has never done it, then they will sit down. If a student has done it, then they stay standing. And we keep going through the Never Have I Ever prompts until we have one winner. You can even play this again. After you find one winner, maybe you give them a prize or maybe you just clap for them, and then everyone can stand up again and then we can play it again. I include a lot of bucket list items on this, but also some fun things as well. So maybe a bucket list item is something like, never have I ever been skydiving. And also if everybody sits down, then just start the game over and have everybody stand up again. But I also include some fun things as well, like never have I ever cheated on a test. Never have I ever lied to my roommate. You can add some interesting ones in there as well. And this I found is a really fun warm-up activity, but it can be a really good thing to close out the class on a high note as well. So that is my simple live like you were dying ESL lesson plan. Now, according to how much time you have, this can be really short. I've done this before in about 45 minutes, but I've also had this extended up to 90 minutes. It depends on your student's level and how much time you have. Hopefully you can try it in your classes, and this is a really fun lesson to use if you just need a bonus lesson, you just need something extra, or maybe you have an actual music lesson that you want to discuss. This is something I love to do. I find that students enjoy it because they've never really done something like that before. You're not going to find this type of lesson in a textbook, and I do have a couple of different lessons where I use this as well. I do have an entire lesson based on a Brad Paisley song called Letter to Me. I even use that topic for a final exam. I have a video all about it. I can leave linked down below. If you're planning a music lesson though, I do also have a completely separate music lesson that's not attached to one specific song. We're just talking about music in general. I'll leave that linked down below as well. You can also check out the website atlasteachingesl.com to see these ideas written out or see other tips and tricks and ideas. You can also check back here weekly for new videos. I hope you enjoy the lesson plan. I hope your students have tons of fun with it. I'll see you next time. Bye.